The entrepreneurship development cell, it's a cell like of a college, and there are approximately 200 students, as you can see in the chat box, and each and every one of them is a
Okay.
student.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool. Cool. I didn't see what Yash had written earlier.
but the first years are yet to join now. Like the admission process is still going on.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So, Raj, you are part of the second year?
Yes, sir. From IT department.
Okay.
Fine, sir. Is it fine? We should start now. Good to
Yeah,
go.
yeah. Absolutely good to go. I'm absolutely perfect. Should we start?
Yes, sir. Fine. So, very good evening to each and everyone present here. I welcome you all on behalf of Entrepreneurship Development, sir. For today's session, e-commerce infinity and beyond. So, what exactly e-commerce is? E-commerce encompasses a wide variety of data systems and tools for both online buyers and sellers. It is a sort of a business model that lets an individual buy and sell things over the internet. We all know B2C and B2B major market segments of e-commerce, right? So today we have with us Mr. Vivek Khandelwal, sir, who is currently a student mentor at Intercell, a virtual mentor network. Sir was also the manager of operations and strategy at Reliance Retail, and sir has an experience of over 19 years from the consumer industry across the urban and rural retail. So we welcome you, and from here I hand over to you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Raj, for those lovely and kind words. I really appreciate your
Thank you,
gesture.
sir.
Okay, I haven't been able to say hello to Kostav, who has been involved in the entire process. Kostav or Kaushik, right?
Yeah,
Kaushik.
yeah, yes, sir. Kaushik.
Sorry. Yeah. So if Kaushik has joined, hello Kaushik, and hello the entire team at EDC of VIIT and any other guests who are part of this interesting and exciting journey ahead for the next 1 hour. So so let me just quickly set the context before we get delve straight into the topic. So few things. So this is my experience of having spoken in multiple forums. What I've always observed, especially with students, is that they're generally more keen on the slides and less on what is getting discussed at the moment. So I would just suggest that I think there's enough and more data which is already available at Google, okay, or in your campuses. So I would just suggest don't focus so much in terms of whether the fact what is written there, but just focus on the key essence of what is getting discussed, because that will ensure that you will get the maximum out of the next 1 hour that we are going to spend together. And now I think it's almost 50 minutes, 10 minutes have behind us. So I think if Raj and Kaushik are kind enough, then they'll extend. Otherwise, they'll say, no, no, I have to wind up sharp at 5. So uh, just kidding. So yes, now what's really the context of the discussion today? The context of the discussion that I'm going to really have in the next 45 minutes or so is really gonna be what is, first of all, e-commerce, basics of e-commerce, journey as to what retail industry really was from an Indian context and how it gradually evolved into e-commerce, a little bit about global scenario. I've deliberately not kept it too heavy in terms of data, because I feel that I think what's very important for you guys is how is it really going to be relevant for you, rather than just having too much of context in terms of largeness of numbers. I think numbers are available everywhere, but if you can have the right context set, that will be absolutely brilliant. So if you guys are with me so far, whatever I have said, uh, I would like each one of you to focus very clearly. And if you are going to do that, please write in the chat box WWF, which is we will focus. Brilliant. I can see messages pouring in. Let me just get going. So my screen is visible as has already been confirmed by Raj. I'm just going to go ahead quickly
Yes, sir.
and start it right away. So e-commerce infinity and beyond, what an interesting topic that the EDC team has really come up with. Why I say that the topic is sharply interesting as well as exciting is because of the fact that e-commerce is truly a world of infinity. And why do I say that? Because there are no limits. unlike the earlier world where in all other forms of retail, there has always been a limit in terms of geography, limit in terms of location. But e-commerce is something where sitting from the comfort of your home and with the click of a button, you can go anywhere in the world, you can buy any product and you can buy it the manner that you want, the configuration that you desire, the customization that you seek. And that's what really defines e-commerce to be a highly futuristic and desirable option for each one of you who is looking at building up your career from something as prestigious as the world of engineering. All of you come from different walks of life, and the fact that you guys have been studying a technical subject like engineering or any of those related topics or subjects gives you an upper edge in terms of your ability to understand and relate to things in a much better manner. Not to say that the people who are from commerce background, they can't, but it's just that it gives you a better edge in a manner of speaking. So let me just quickly delve into the fact that India is really heading towards a revolution. What do I really mean by that? It's the time for India actually began with the year 2005. Now, if you see on this chart on the right, what the chart really showcases is India was exactly in the same phase as was China, US, and UK in the decades which are mentioned below, which is China was in similar phase in the decade 1990 to 2000, and US and UK simultaneously have been in the decades 1960 to 1980. Now, what exactly are these 5 stages that you can really see here? They are defined as embryonic right from the stage of embryonic to redevelopment. Now, what it means is for any new product typically goes through the stage of launch and goes through maturity, decline, and then redevelopment. You must have experienced it in your own journey, how a product does rebranding. If you have observed those things on different forums or during your purchase history, just write super cool, SC, just write SC. That this is the concept from your day-to-day world, which actually equally applies to the world of e-commerce as well. Now, why do I really call this concept a super cool is because of the fact that just in over 1.5 decades, just imagine what retail has done to India. If you look at the year 2005, prior to 2005, the concept of organized retail in India was very, very minimal. Not that it wasn't there at all. It was 100% there, but it wasn't there to the extent that we see it today. Most of you who are in your early teens, obviously goes without saying that you were very, very young in those early years, in those formative years of retail. And if I can put it in the right perspective, all of you are part of the Gen Z, which is Generation Z, and all of you are digital natives. Because you are digital natives, all that you understand, all that your world really truly understands is that you are from the world of social media, computer, and mobile phone. That's really your world. And that's what makes e-commerce a truly exciting and interesting opportunity for each one of you. Not only as a buyer, but also as a seller, also as someone who would like to establish e-commerce as a line of business. So overall growth in Indian retail. So as you can see, India is absolutely equal to transformation, because one thing that India as a country has really done in the last 15 to 20 odd years is embracing change. Every change has been embraced in India. Yes, there's been a lot of political issues. There's been a lot of challenges which has come uninvited, but still India as a country has moved ahead. It has moved forward. Now, what you see on the right is a chart which showcases 2 axes, market development as well as formal retail development. And it showcases right from level 1 to level 5. And level 1 is what? Level 1 is basically the time that your parents, your grandparents have really experienced, which is the timings of the Kirana outlet, the mom and pop outlet. Yeah, when you guys were in your early growing years, you've really seen traditional supermarkets, hypermarkets, cash and carry. Why I'm saying you have seen, it's not that you haven't seen Kirana, but the fact that maximum purchases by your generation has been happening at hypermarkets, cash and carry, traditional supermarkets, as well as category specialist outlet. Now, what do I really mean by category specialist outlet? The real meaning of category specialist outlet is when the moment you walk into a full-fledged apparel store, apparel brand store, which just keeps apparel, that becomes a category specialist. There was a time when there were full-fledged just shoe specialist outlet, which used to keep brands of several shoe brands. They emerged as category specialist. And India actually grew over a period of time in terms of its own retail story, creating its own retail story, because with every new category, with every new segment that came up, what really became very interesting is the consumer behavior started to evolve, the consumer behavior started to change. So far, whatever I've shared, if it's easy going and if it's easy for you to understand, just write EP, easy peasy, just for me to get a sense saying, yes, you guys are truly enjoying and you guys are understanding what I'm really saying. Yes, so I think coming back to the same slide, in most of the developed, matured and developed or developing market, e-commerce has typically entered in level 4. But what has really happened in our market, in Indian market, is e-commerce has really come to our market in between level 3 and level 4. So you can see level 3 is category specialist, as well as level 4 is small digitally integrated stores. So you must have heard that in India, there are a lot of stores which are completely digitally integrated. Whatever they do, they don't accept cash payments. There are stores like that which have already started coming in different parts of the country. And it's only a matter of time, once the storm of lockdown settles, you will start to hear that in much larger, much bigger numbers as well. Okay, the next one is mobile is truly changing the Indian landscape. Now, if you read any percentage, which is there on the right, if you read any one, so let me just take an example of the fact that 94% of Indians prefer using apps over website to make purchases online. Now, how many of you guys, you really think that this isn't the case? Probably for your generation, that's 100% the case, right? And same is the scenario with even the elderly generation. And what has really boosted these numbers is not only the fact that lockdown has literally forced people across different generations to start embracing mobile as a key tool of change, but what lockdown has also done is it has opened up the Pandora's box for people of senior generation to start accepting digital as a way of life. So if these percentages and if these thoughts have really gone deep into you, I'm not going to really read each one of them, that's just for you to have a quick view. If it has really gone deep into you and you are able to resonate with what I'm saying, just write GD, gone deep. If you write gone deep, I know and I understand that yes, you're able to understand and resonate. Another very important point here is, if you see on the left, with just around 34 to 36% of the Indian population available on internet, just see the kind of momentum that the Indian market has really shown. And if this momentum, and obviously it goes without saying that this momentum is going to continue in a much bigger and bolder way. And in the next 5 years time frame, this number is going to increase by another 30-odd%. Just imagine what will happen to our country and to the e-commerce world when this number grows by another 30 to 40% in the coming years. Now, connected information to this is, why is e-commerce becoming so indispensable in India? One of the biggest and strongest reason is the mobile first economy. How many of you resonate with the fact that India is actually a mobile first economy? If you have to browse through any pages, if you have to buy anything, how many times does it so happen that you go and look into the website? Most of the time you'll quickly download the app, or even if you have to visit the website or you have to read the reviews, you'll quickly go on the phone, right? So if you are able to quickly relate with the mobile first economy, just write MF, mobile first. Mobile first is basically the true game changer that our market has really seen. So I'm just going to pick up some of the key attributes on this page. So let me just pick up the first attribute is the average outgo per 1 GB of data, which is the price per 1 GB of data has gone down all the way from 200 rupees in the year 2016 to less than 10 bucks as we speak now. It's much lesser than even 10 rupees. So that's the level of pricing, and that's the level of internet penetration and the data point, which is really available for anyone to consume, for anyone to experience. If you look at another interesting fact, we have already seen in the last 5 years the number of exclusive mobile launches that are actually happening in the e-commerce world. There's so many brands which have just launched online in the e-commerce world. Are you able, do you guys remember which mobile brands do you remember was launched just online and they've launched their offline stores later? Just write that in the chat box. Let's just quickly understand how quickly you guys can jog your own memory. Absolutely, Atharv. I completely agree with you. OnePlus was a classic brand. OnePlus, Realme, absolutely. And it's just that after they launched it, they realized that India is such a huge offline market. Just being online, customers, the kind of experience that they need, the kind of support system that they need, they will not be able to get all of that just online. And that's where they have really gone with the offline market and offline model as well. Let me pick up another interesting aspect here, which is internet penetration is expected to grow to greater than 50% by the year 2021. Now, just imagine half the country sitting with access to internet. I used to work about 3 years back when I was responsible to manage Project Shakti of Hindustan Unilever. Project Shakti, just for you guys to understand, it is a women empowerment program. It started as a women empowerment program and it was meant to uplift the women population in the rural market. And then gradually it became a full-fledged machinery worth 3,000 crores. You can't even imagine the kind of network connectivity that I used to get even 3 years back in the rural markets. And most of the young generation in the rural markets were using a mobile phone and they had access to e-commerce. They used to consume a lot of videos, which has actually become a buzz only in the last 2-3 years. They used to consume videos, they used to watch a lot of serials completely just on their mobile phone. So that's the level of penetration and accessibility that mobile phone actually gave to people. Okay, the next one is big picture of growth. Now, what is the meaning of big picture of growth? So if you see this, where I'm just trying to take you guys deeper into the e-commerce piece. So you see different bubbles are there on this page. Now, the first bubble, which is the pink one, it says Amazon started here. What it means is Amazon started with the sporting goods, hobby, books, and music. What it did then, it obviously improved trust, selection, as well as convenience. It then took a jump and then it moved into clothing and accessories, electronics, appliances, furniture, and home. Then it again took a huge jump with setting up a strong background in terms of convenience, customization, trust. Yeah. And then it moved into grocery. So grocery, food, beverage, health and personal care, they are really going to be the game changer in the e-commerce industry. Now, let's just look back in time. If we just analyze the last 7 months, when you have probably spent active time in your own residence, can you just for a moment visualize how many times it has so happened that you have played an active role within your family ecosystem, either to support your mother, sister, brother, father, to order groceries online? How many of you have done that? I just want to see that in the chat box. Just tell me what was the purpose and how many times have you gone online just for groceries and health and wellness in the last 7 months? So when I'm saying groceries, it can be anything which is connected to purchases at your home. So Prem, yes, I can completely understand. You're saying many times, so which means you've lost count also how many times you've gone. Once when DMart launched their online store, yes, Atharv, I completely agree. DMart had to launch their online store aggressively, especially during the lockdown period. Yeah, because DMart stores started to shut down, and that became one of the primary reason. Mansi, you were saying almost every time. So just imagine, because you guys are becoming a funnel for your family and for your parents and for yourself to contribute to the e-commerce world by going online. So let's quickly have a look at the global scenario with changing preferences. So what's really happened globally? Now, before I delve into this particular sheet, let me just tell you a quick story. I was there in the US a couple of years back, and to my astonishment, what I really understood from the people there is that for them, reliability on Amazon is a lot more than reliability on Google. Now, what was the reason that it was really happening like that? One of the primary reasons why it was happening like that is because people's trust to buy on Amazon and to search on Amazon was extremely high. That's not really the case today in India, but it just shows that we are absolutely moving in that kind of a direction. So that's the level of penetration that e-commerce has already seen globally. And one of the research report really says that online grocery penetration in the US market is going to cross 20% of the total market size just in the next 5 to 7 years time frame. So let's quickly look at these four global changing scenarios as well as preferences. So one is changing consumer behavior, which is people like you and me who are giving a lot of importance to buying online because we prefer, it's easy, it's convenient, it's probably price sensitive as well. There are a lot of introduction of a lot of new purchasing models as well as tech. There are a lot of new technologies which are coming up. Can we ever miss AI as well as ML? The role of artificial intelligence and machine learning is humongous in whatever we do in the e-com space. Growing supply support. Now, one of the most important factor is that as logistics is improving, obviously this point will take a little bit of time when it comes to Indian market, but the international market, as logistics and supply chain and supply support is improving, obviously the role of e-commerce is becoming deeper and deeper. And the after effect of this, obviously, a retail store, which is physical location, is obviously struggling to manage profits, and it's obviously leading to mass store closures. Another interesting research that Amazon has, as per one of the research report that comes up, is 18% of Amazon's net sales is really going to come out of just online grocery in the next decade or so. And it goes without saying that it's absolutely a fact, because Amazon has been busy buying a lot of physical grocery stores in the US market. So this for you was just a quick sense of what is the kind of global scenario, especially when it pertains to US, that being one of the biggest markets, and China being hand in hand in the US. Like the way US is growing, China is equally growing. So let's quickly look at some of the trends in e-commerce industry, especially when we look at Indian market. Now, if you look at digital participation, what's the kind of online shoppers if you look at million? So if I just don't consider for a moment, let's just keep COVID-19 aside. If I just keep COVID-19 aside, and if I look at a scenario of the online shopper increase all the way from 20 million to 220 million now, post-COVID, when the new report comes in, I'm sure this number is going to touch even 250 million or 300 million. So that's the level of quantum and size of people who are already shopping online. And if you try to relate this with the figure, with the aspect which is written on the left, you will observe that it's absolutely in sync with the overall size of internet users, which is currently sitting at about 450 million, and it is expected to reach 850 million by 2022. Now, what does it really mean for you? What it means for you is a world of opportunities. So just write WOP in the chat box, world of opportunities for people like you. Each one of you here on this forum today, you are going to be the real beneficiary of the world of opportunities that e-commerce is really going to open up for you. Now, it doesn't really matter what field you come from. We are going to delve and spend a little bit of time connected to the kind of careers that e-commerce also throws. But yes, world of opportunities is what you guys are going to experience. What's really the market size? If you look at the Indian market size till about 3 years back, it was about $50 billion. And from $50 billion, we are anticipating the market to hit a figure of $200 billion plus by 2026, which now, as per best estimates, this number is going to be achieved much earlier, and the credit for that actually goes completely to COVID. Why am I saying that credit goes to COVID? Because COVID made it absolutely indispensable for people, absolutely indispensable for urbanites to not to go and purchase via the e-commerce. They made it absolutely compulsory for people to start embracing e-commerce in variety of ways. So if you look at a scenario, typical scenario when COVID wasn't there, what is really sharp and really interesting is almost close to 2 to 4 hours was just spent on variety of mobile apps every single day. Now, this is a national average. This, so to say, people in both in urban markets as well as rural market, this is the kind of time that people were really spending with the mobile phone, spending time on variety of different apps and consuming either video or content or whatever. And if you just look at the number of people who are present in terms of the market size, you recollect that I spoke about the fact that number of online shoppers in India will be greater than 220 million in 2020. Now, if you just compare and relate this with number of active monthly users on YouTube and Facebook, it is just 250 million plus. So just imagine the total number of active users on both the platform in the Indian market is what we are really talking about, the entire market size. Where do people typically buy from? So this is really going to show you a quick overview in terms of the category specific areas where people buy from. So I've just tried to cover some broad set of easily known, well-known different brands, be it in the area of multi-category or apparel fashion category, baby category, be it grooming, consumer electronics. I'm sure each one of you can resonate these names pretty well, and only when you actually get to see them together, you really feel, oh, how big the market really is. So I would like you to write in the chat box, freaking awesome, FA, just write FA to just see the kind of largeness that our Indian market really has. If you look at apparel and fashion category, baby category, look at beauty and grooming category. So all of these, so beauty and grooming category was actually never there in the Indian market. It has just come up in the last few years. There were few players, but who were not playing a very, very strong role just for the masses, like Shoppers Stop and Health and Glow. They were never playing a role for the masses. But Nykaa changed the game. Nykaa, Purple, all of these brands actually started to change the complete game. Grocery as a category, which has taken a huge share in the e-commerce space. Health and wellness. Now, if you just go back in time, if I take you back in time, just about 5 years ago, there was hardly any prominent and strong player in the health and wellness category. And today, if you look at it, the scenario is exactly the opposite. So just imagine if any one of you have your passion associated with a category like health and wellness, what you guys will be in a position to do in that category. Be it starting your own platforms, be it working on an e-com marketplaces, any opportunity that you guys are keen to explore. There's a world of opportunities as I discussed with you guys earlier. So there's pet category. Pet is a huge category. Pet is a huge category. People traditionally used to just go offline, but since the time pet has become a very strong category online, they have started to go online and buy comfortably online. So at this juncture, I would like you guys to ask a very interesting and exciting question. The question really is, what do you think motivates people to go to e-com websites, to go to marketplaces and buy a product? What do you think? Tell me in one word that you resonate the most, that this is the reason why people go to the online marketplaces and buy any product that they like. Okay, discount, easiness, fast service. Okay, cheap and easy, fast. Okay, convenience. Yeah. Variety, convenience. So can I also tell you another important reason for which people go there? People also go there because they are able to read the reviews. People also go there because they trust the platform. So they also equally become so much powerful as to why the e-com platforms are predominantly so strong. Is the mind opening up? Just write MO, mind open. Do you guys agree with reviews and trust? Do you think that they are important factors? Just for a moment, think from your own purchase journey. You'll be able to relate with it so well. Do you really buy a product without reading the review? That will answer this question. I'm not saying the generic product, which are very easygoing product. I'm not referring to them. I am referring to product which requires a little bit of time to be spent. I am referring to those kind of products where even if you go offline, if you go to a physical outlet to purchase a product, you will still go and search online and check variety of prices which are available on different platforms, right? Okay, brilliant. So this is where people are buying from. Now, where they are buying, so what this slide really showcases is, where are people really buying from? What's the kind of traffic that the e-com platforms are really getting? And what's the average visit duration? Now, this number is going to increase significantly post the COVID effect, but it will again settle down once we are away from the COVID period. So if I have to just say in a generic manner, just look at the amount of time that Amazon as a platform really gets from people like you and me who come and spend time on the platform. Okay, I'm just moving on. As consumers in the Indian market, what do we really buy? And if I have to rate from 1 to 10, what is the preferences? So this is not in terms of value purchases, this is more in terms of quantity purchases. So if you look at quantity purchases, these are the kind of products that people buy, these are the kind of categories that people buy. And most importantly, they buy these because of the variety of reasons that you guys have already mentioned above. Yeah, so apparels, mobile phones, books, consumer electronics, these are those easygoing category that people trust. Now, just imagine consumer electronics as a category has grown significantly in the last few years, where initially people used to have concern with respect to what will happen if I buy a computer, whether the computer will work, not work, what are the kind of challenges I'll face. All of those things have been ironed out. And how have those been ironed out? Because of the growing trust and the reviews which has been mentioned on the platform. Okay, let me just move on. How does pricing typically work? Now, this is pricing not from the angle of how Amazon does the pricing. This is pricing from the angle of, suppose if you're looking at selling something online yourself, or if you're looking at it from a consumer's angle, how does pricing typically work? So let me just take you through the pricing structure. So first and foremost is people who sell online, they will look at what is the price benchmarking which has been set by the competitors. Now, competitors of similar kind of products, whether branded, unbranded, obviously there are so many different varieties which are available. So they will start to compare, saying what are the kind of offers which are available. Same thing which works offline actually gets replicated online, just that the processes are different. Then price working with service charges. So every marketplace has their own set of charges and commissions that gets deducted. There's pricing strategy. Buy box is a technical term. So what buy box really means is, if suppose today you go and buy, say for example, a Unilever shampoo. Now what happens on the online page is, it is not just Unilever which is selling the same shampoo. There's so many different players who are selling the same shampoo online, and people who are selling it the cheapest or from where maximum purchases are happening, they actually end up winning the buy box, and buy box gets visibility on the e-com platform pages. Benchmarking the competitor, work on benchmarking the competitor, we've already discussed, work on the discount and suggest price ranges, and work on multi-pack and combo strategy. So there are a lot of products. So what typically happens is, there are a lot of products which are available online. So that tells me, would you guys be interested if I take you guys online on e-commerce, on an Amazon website and show something? Just write in the chat box if you guys are interested. I'll just take you right there. Okay, so you guys are interested. Let me just, is my screen viewable? Just confirm.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, Amazon is visible, right? So let's just discuss this live. Raj, why don't you participate with me? Just tell me, Raj, what is your favorite product that you buy from Amazon, or tell me any product that you'd like to buy.
So merchandise or gadgets?
Okay, gadgets. Any specific gadget or any specific category? Let's look at headsets. If I look at headset, okay, headset is generally a product that people want to buy. Now, you guys are able to see now the set of people who are new to e-commerce, or people who haven't spent much time on e-commerce. There's just a quick sense of understanding which I would like to share with you real time. So if you see this box, is this box viewable where it is written sponsored?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, so this sponsored is where the role of advertising typically come in the online space, right? And the same product, if it comes below, it will come organically, but to come to this space, obviously the brand has to pay money, right? Now, if I have to go to any specific page, if I go to the specific page, let's select this Petron. I've selected the first product. Now, if you see, this entire thing makes so much of difference. Can you see these 5-6 pointers which are written here in your video? Is it visible?
Yeah, yes, sir. We can see
so it. This is called the content. So this entire content management, these bullet points make a lot of difference in the mind of the consumer, because people start to read it. Then these are the kind of pictures and videos. So everything has a specification on platforms like Amazon, Flipkart, or any platform, so to say, and people buy that basis these details. Now, if you just come down a bit below, and if you just check the details, so this page that you see from the manufacturer is called enhanced content. Now, the meaning of enhanced content really is that there's a lot of additional information which will be visible by the brand, okay, which will help or which will aid the consumer in comfortably managing the buying decision. That's one of the biggest differentiators when it comes to buying decision. These are the kind of options which are available, which the e-commerce platform actually gives to the sellers to sell. Now, you see, this gives so much of information and this gives so much of positive appeal when the consumer is just going through the page. If you just come down below, you have all these technical details. You also have very clearly when was the product first. And another factor is what is the kind of rating the product has. Okay, in the particular category. So we know that this product is ranking 161 in electronics, but the product is ranking top 50. The rank of this product is 50th in the in-ear headphones. So anyone who's looking to build a career in e-commerce, please understand that these different set of roles are being played by different set of people. Right? So there's someone who's responsible just for managing content. There's someone who's responsible for the entire digital marketing piece, which is taking the entire journey right from Amazon, from e-commerce platforms to social media and vice versa. Trying to do a lot of linkages there, and then there's someone who's fully responsible in terms of managing the platforms, managing a lot of operational issues, and all of those things, all of those in detail. I hope this would have given you guys some sense of understanding. If you find it really interesting, just write INT, just write INT in the chat box. So I'll just move on and head back to my presentation. Thank you, Raj, for that participation.
Yes, sir, no worries.
Okay, so before I get into another interesting mind map that I've created, I would just like you guys to just remember this thought that there will be no e-commerce, but only new retail in future. This is going to be simply a combination of online, offline, and modern logistics. So Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, has very rightfully expressed this, and this is such a beautiful concept that for a consumer. So if you try to relate this to yourself, as a consumer, all that you are interested in is that you want to buy a product, at decent prices, and you want the convenience with which the product should be available to you. And then there are a lot of other reasons which are obviously connected. I'm not going to delve into those reasons. So let me now quickly delve into some other facets of e-commerce. Raj, is this mind map viewable to you guys?
Yes, sir.
Brilliant. So there are 5 different models which can be explored when it comes to e-commerce. The reason I'm getting into business models is because I understand that a lot of you might also be keen to take up e-commerce as a career to start your own platform. So it will be an interesting feature for anyone who's not really currently having that level of understanding with respect to platforms, with respect to business models. So there are 5 different kind of models. As you can see here, drop shipping. So what really is drop shipping? So drop shipping is an online store that doesn't really hold inventory, and it's basically an amalgamation of 3 parties: customer, website, and supplier. So what happens is customer places the order lands on the website, and from the website the order goes straight to the supplier. Now once the order goes to the supplier, here the most important key in this model is supplier is the key. If the website is operating on a limited range of products, then the advantage is that you can manage with a limited number of suppliers. But if the website is catering to multiple products, then the challenge is you'll have multiple suppliers, and assembling the product, supplying it, cost increases significantly. And this, because this is an online store which doesn't hold inventory, one of the biggest challenges is customers a lot of times tend to leave out at the checkout time because the shipping cost becomes too high. Because there's a shipping cost associated. Now just tell me, do you guys, when you go online, when you want to buy, do you love to pay shipping cost? Or do you appreciate when the shipping cost is already inbuilt as part of the cost? What do you like? If you like shipping cost, you say, I like shipping cost, ILS. Okay, inbuilt is what, okay, not at all. So just imagine the fact that inbuilt is what is most important for you, because that is what is the preferred model. And this is one of the drawback with drop shipping. Now reselling, if you see reselling, what happens? There's a mediator, there's a person who who actually ends up buying the product from either a wholesaler, distributor, or manufacturer. The reseller never makes or manufactures any product on their own, right? And reselling is ideally brilliant when it comes to niche segments, a segment which is not overcrowded, segments which is not too cluttered. That's where reselling as a model can truly work. And what happens in terms of reselling? Resellers typically sell everything through their own name. So, for example, if I open a new e-com platform called Raj Platform or Raj.com, and from Raj.com I want to sell XYZ things, what will really happen? As Raj.com, these are the kind of challenges that I'm typically going to face, which I have to navigate through. Let me move to the next one. Next one is private label. So what happens in terms of private label is, if you today look at any of your physical stores, any physical retail store, or even for that matter Kirana outlet, there are a lot of products that might come to enter your home which are private labels. So what it means is, suppose when we go to a D-Mart, we go to a Big Bazaar, we go to a Hypercity, any product which is branded directly by D-Mart, right? That's a private label. So same thing applies to Amazon also, Amazon, Flipkart. They are trying to create their own private label on different set of product categories. One of the biggest advantages with private label is that the margins are extremely high in private label, and all that they spend time on is branding the product, creating the right kind of brand imagery, creating the right set of creativity, which will really help and assist the buyers to take a buying decision. The next one is manufacturing. Manufacturing, one of the big piece in terms of manufacturing is capital incentive. It requires huge amount of money in terms of investments, and the return on those investments can only come over a period of time. And the fifth model can be handmade. Handmade is more like handicrafts and those things. These are skilled things. Now the challenge here is scalability. So if you gradually put everything into manufacturing, then it's fine. Otherwise, scalability, because it's a skill, it's an art, if you get more orders, it becomes a challenge. Okay, Raj, just quickly checking, it's 16:50 now. Do I have another 10 minutes or so for me to complete my part? Is that okay?
Yes, sir, sure, no problem.
Oh, brilliant, thank you. So these are the models. Let me just move to the next part, which is measuring profitability. Now, what happens in e-commerce is, how do you really measure profitability? Profitability can be measured only and only after you have looked at what your buying costs are. So one is buying cost, second piece is fulfillment cost. Now, what's really the meaning of fulfillment? Fulfillment is a product is there in the warehouse, but from the warehouse, when you receive the order and the product has to reach the consumer, that is the cost of fulfillment. But the cost of fulfillment is not just the cost of logistics. The cost of fulfillment is also the cost of keeping the products in the warehouse, because warehouse is taking space. You have a rent associated with the warehouse. And then the next and important piece is taxes. So there are taxes, there are connected liabilities with respect to taxes, which one has to pay. So if suppose tomorrow you want to sell anything online, just be mindful of some of these parameters. Other than this, if you have to start your own business also, these are the kind of factors that you will consider when it comes to sellers who are going to come and sell on your platform. So say, for example, BigBasket. Now, BigBasket doesn't have all the products which they manufacture. At the end of the day, it's a platform. Grofers, it's a platform. It's just that the business models are different. Own e-com website or marketplaces. So if there's a question that comes to your mind saying, should I go with my own e-com site or marketplaces? The biggest answer that you will have to appreciate is both have their own set of advantages as well as disadvantages. But a bigger reason will be, what is the kind of niche that one really wants to operate. If you're someone who's looking at building your own career in e-commerce, the world is wide and large. There's no problem at all. But if you are someone who is willing to sell a product of your own on e-com as a marketplace, then you can judge saying who's going to be your buyer, what is the kind of age group that the buyer is in, what is the vocation that the buyer is into, and blah, 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 basis which you will decide, okay, what kind of platforms or what kind of model that you will really go with. So what is one of the toughest things when it comes to e-com as a marketplace? I say that one of the toughest thing is people to see the product. If you guys agree with me on this particular thing, and if you think that it's a bulb on moment, just write PO, that it's a bulb on moment. That one of the biggest challenges in e-com as a platform and e-com as a marketplace is visibility of product. Now imagine if a seller has to sell the product online on Amazon, the product will be lying on the 20th page, 15th page. Have you ever, as a consumer, gone to the 15th page to search for product? The big answer will be, can I expect the answer here on the chat box? What would be the big answer? Yes or no? Oh, Prem says no. Satvik says no. Brilliant. Yes, obviously the goes without saying that the answer is no. And that's where the role of advertising is so paramount. It becomes extremely critical to ensure that advertising is being used appropriately and the costs are being monitored appropriately. The variety of tools which are available for e-com marketplaces, there are ample number of softwares which are available for anyone who's selling from their own platform. So it's better to use those kind of tools to ensure that you're able to drive things appropriately and also at the end of the day make money. Okay, the next important point is reviews. I think we had briefly discussed about it earlier. Do you guys think that whether reviews are important? What is your opinion? So yes, no, or very important. Reviews are important. So you guys say reviews are important. Absolutely, reviews are actually game changer. So it is said that a brand which has sold its products from a kirana or from a physical retail outlet, organized retail store 1,000 times, it will not matter as much as if they have sold the product that many number of times online and they have that many number of reviews. Now, what is the reason that reviews become so important? One of the primary reasons why reviews become so important, beyond trust, because trust is something that we spoke about earlier, is building of credibility. People trust people. Even if you don't know the individual, it doesn't matter. But as long as you know that someone has written a review, and once you have read the review, you believe that no, if the person has written this, it must be true. Let me just go and take that buying decision. So that's what happens when it comes to reviews. And now last and one of the most important one is careers in e-commerce. So what I've really tried to do is I have really tried to put together some of the pointers which I think will open up the horizon for you when it comes to careers with e-commerce. So this is not in any particular order. They are mixed, but I'm just going to take you through each one of them very, very quickly and also share my thoughts about them. So customer-led divisions. In terms of careers in e-commerce, customer-led divisions are one of the most exciting divisions. Now, why do I say them to be the most exciting divisions? Someone who loves talking can become a customer service specialist. Now, the career for them is they'll keep growing. They might start with a e-com call center or something like that. They'll gradually become team leader, but then gradually the role is much bigger and much bolder. It is unlike what really used to happen in the world of call centers. It's much beyond call centers. Creative divisions, brands, customer experience, they're extremely powerful divisions. Brands is something which always is responsible to safeguard the overall brand scenario, the overall brand attributes of that particular platform. Customer experience the role in customer experience division can be varied, can be mixed, and it depends what is the kind of, so it can be a category-led customer experience initiative, it can be overall platform-led customer service initiative, it can be as per the sales channel of customer service, customer experience initiative, it can be mixed. Market research. So market is someone who is interested in driving research, someone who wants to use their technical knowledge to build career in research. Market research can be a very, very powerful division where someone will be responsible all the time to keep analyzing different set of tools, to keep engaging with customers physically, digitally, all of those things. Now, as we speak today, a research with customer is no longer physical. It has to be embedded both digital as well as physical. Sales. So every time that you go and buy something online, it is called B2C. It is called business to consumer, right? But every time that someone else goes to buy, every time that an organization goes to buy something online, it becomes B2B. So what happens with the organization is they might have a separate link, they might have a separate channel, they might have even differential pricings. And then there is the third one can be institutions. So for example, hospitals. So hospital is an institution. They know that these are the set of requirements that we have. These are the kind of prices that we will need. So they will continue to engage with people on that level. So careers in marketing also involve marketing is an evergreen field. There's loads of opportunities when it comes to marketing, and the best part is most of the e-com platforms generally opens up a lot of opportunities also for people to work as interns. So you can also explore that as a career opportunity for yourself, where you can explore to intern yourself in one of the marketing divisions. IT infrastructure, again, someone who's passionate about IT, huge opportunities in terms of IT. So less spoken the better, because IT includes the entire world of cloud computing. IT includes artificial intelligence, augmented reality, machine learning, augmented reality. I think with respect to machine learning and artificial intelligence, e-commerce is utilizing both these in a beautiful manner. There's a lot of role that they play. E-com platforms are actively playing a huge role in terms of using these technologies. So every time that you want to buy a product. So let me just come back to this page, and you want to buy a product, and you see that all these recommendations that you see here, these are all part of machine learning. So machine learning is being used actively here, and machine learning along with internal linking. So why you see here, so all these things are an Amazon internal page. So if I click here, it will go to another Amazon page. So these are all internal linking which has been used here on this particular platform. Operations, again, operations has a lot of roles and responsibilities in the world of e-commerce. So it can be category-led operations. So I've given you a few examples connected to category. There are different set of categories: apparel, consumer electronics, footwear, books, music. There are different categories. So the category level operations, the logistics which are involved in the operations. There's a lot of work with respect to inventory management, warehousing. Then there are a lot of roles connected to back office. So HR, legal, finance. So irrespective of anything, people have huge opportunities to work in some of these profound divisions which actually form backbone for any organization. Then there's design-led innovations, design, content. So I've already given you an example of the power of content. So this is just one miniature example. If you pick up any product which has got maximum reviews, or any new product, so if you look at this, for example, it has got 22,000 reviews, right? So let's just quickly look at this product now. If you look at this product, just see how beautifully they have expressed the details. Yeah. So they have very clearly mentioned what the details of the product are. They have given the necessary information here. And you see another important thing, I spoke about creation of enhanced content. So just see, all these things impact us as consumers so much. Our buying decisions are connected with this. Then there's data insights, business analytics, data science. So data is like, I always say data is like air in e-commerce. So the role and importance of data was never as big in the world as it is with the world of e-commerce. So be it in terms of search engine optimization, driving and managing search, product recommendations, pricing management. There's so many different attributes. I've just tried to cover just a few for you guys to get a better understanding. So product can be management driven product. It can be development. So it can be product management, which is product has already been developed. It is like routine management of the product. Product can also be in development stage, that, okay, you are trying to envisage a new category of product to be launched, and you start to develop on those products. And then there's private label. And then I think I briefly touched, but the entire experts of futuristic technologies. So there's a lot of demand for these, for anyone who strives to build their career especially in these areas. So that's it from my side. Happy to answer any questions. I hope I have abided by the time. I might have been a bit fast. My apologies in case if you guys haven't been able to understand any specific part, but I'm happy to answer. If I was too fast, Raj, was I too fast, or was the speed okay?
No, so I guess it was okay, and it was perfect session, and everyone enjoyed it, loved it.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So I have a question.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of industries that may rely on B2B e-commerce?
What kind of industries may rely on B2B e-commerce?
Yeah.
So what do you have in mind, Raj? What kind of industries do you think will not rely on B2B e-commerce? Can you think of any one industry?
So I guess it's pharmacy, pharmacy industry, because there are many industries. For example, if we take an example of Wellness Forever, because it's open for 24/7, and sometimes the delivery, or it won't be that fast. So is it Is it one of the possible
See,
industry?
I'll tell you when it comes to so the category that you are speaking about, Raj, especially focusing on that category, that's the health and wellness category. So health
Yeah.
and wellness category, we are still in a very nascent stage. The real momentum of health and wellness as a category has just started to come in about 3 or 5 years time frame. And this is one of the category which I can tell you, there's a lot of focus on this particular category by the e-com players. And come what may, e-com has already been playing a role in health and wellness. So I spoke about an example of hospitals. So hospitals come under the category of institutions. So what
Yeah, yeah.
players are doing is they are already supplying so many different kind of products to hospitals, to pharmacy outlets. Already they are supplying it. That it can only increase, it can never come down. And today, if you, to my imagination, if I have to give you a simple answer to your question, Raj, e-com is just an extension of the way you were used to purchasing in the physical retail world, be it from an organized outlet or be it from an unorganized retail. What e-commerce has done is e-commerce has increased the speed of your transaction manifold, and other than speed, e-commerce has also brought a lot of choices which were beyond your reach, a lot more comfortable for you. So be it any industry, be it manufacturing industry, be it aviation industry, pharma industry, every industry is 100% impacted and affected by e-commerce as a channel. Yes, one can always debate and say, okay, what is the quantum of that impact? Yes, that's a debatable topic because that depends upon the maturity of e-commerce as a platform with respect to that particular industry or sector.
Okay, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So there's another question. So what
Yeah.
are the certain demerits or disadvantages of e-commerce as a business model?
If I have to look at few of the disadvantages of e-commerce as a channel is that e-commerce, what it does is there are a lot of costs associated with e-commerce. Although there are benefits, but then there are a lot of costs associated with e-commerce. And the primary reason that the costs are so high is because our infrastructure with respect to logistics is still not very strong. So that is one area where consumer might have a little bit of discomfort saying, okay, consumer will have the question that I asked you guys, will you guys be really interested in purchasing anything online with shipping costs? Your immediate answer was no. So this is one of the area where e-commerce might have a little bit of challenge. Other than this, the other areas where e-commerce has a challenge is in terms of fragile items. So if you look at
Yeah,
music
yeah.
category, Raj, so music as a category, suppose if e-commerce as a platform has to send guitar, I'm just taking an example, guitar. Now, what happens is these products are so sensitive, and the way the courier system works in our country, with the manner in which they travel and navigate on the roads, it is not highly conducive for these products to reach the end user in a fashion. And hence, again, this becomes a challenge for people.
Yeah. So it's a question Q&A session. So guys, if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat box.
Before you guys put your question, I would just like to ask in one word, guys, all the people who are here in this session, I would just like to ask in one word, how did you guys find this session? What is it that you are taking from this 1 hour that you have spent in this session? Okay, keep it flowing, guys. Lokesh, I can see your comment. Intuitive, okay, interesting. Okay, Siddhant, thank you. So Siddhant, you said it was great session. So were there things which were new for you? Because to my understanding, I was told that there are a lot of people who might be very keen to understand the basics of e-commerce itself, and that's where I've tried to take that entire journey right from the initial stage and not taking into straight into advanced sessions. Okay, thanks, Satvik. We did quite a session. Siddhant, I'm just looking forward to your input. Informative. Okay, Amol. Thank you.
So it
Abhishek,
was a very enthusiastic session, I'd rather say. So I loved your energy, sir.
no, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think, see, what really happens is every time that I get into a session, Raj, my only objective is that each one of you who is part of the session should be able to take some interesting, exciting, and some great learnings with yourself for the
Yeah,
time that
yes,
you
sir.
have invested. So that's my endeavor all the time. Okay, I think while people are taking time, I'm open to any question and answers, guys. Anyone? So please, one quick guideline with respect to question and answers. No question is a foolish question. So never ever think that my question will be a foolish question. If at all that thought comes into your mind, I'm sure it will not. So for all you know, that other people also might be thinking that kind of a question that might come into your mind. Will it be better to delve into e-commerce rather than retail space? Lokesh, will you just come on the video? Let's just have face-to-face chat. I'll be happy to answer this question for you. And if you have any challenge, I can just answer as it is, no problem. Okay, will it be?
So I won't be able to switch on my video, but I can talk.
Okay, that's fine. So, Lokesh, your question is, will it be better to delve into e-commerce rather than retail space? So, in what context are you asking this question, Lokesh? Why don't you just give me one example? Is it with respect to your
I
own
mean,
career?
yeah, somewhat related to that, but it is more of an observation because I've seen people opening a lot of shops these days. They've rented shops and then they're selling it like retail stuff. But I really like the idea of e-commerce because it's really widespread and it is better than what you can achieve from the local customers that you have. So I was just wondering if that will be a better idea to delve into the
Okay.
e-commerce space.
Yes, the answer to your question is yes, Lokesh. It will definitely be. The primary reason why I'm saying yes is because e-commerce is a futuristic and a long-term career option. And there are a lot of opportunities that will open up in e-commerce. The way we are seeing e-commerce and the way we are going to see e-commerce in 5 years time frame, it's not going to be the same. So which means people who are associated early in the years with e-commerce, they'll have a lot of opportunities to also grow within this industry.